friends, Tasha Rose with Radical Mothering, and today I want to show you how I do garlic fermented honey or honey fermented garlic. These are the ingredients you're going to need. I've got my daughter helping film the video today. So this is my honey from last year. This is what we have left over, and I'm bulking up what we've got for this winter with all of this garlic. And I'm going to put it all into this big jar. And so what you need is a jar, and you need some honey. This is honey that I picked up at a local grocery store here. It is local honey with the local grocery store label, and a whole bunch of cleaned, peeled garlic. The first thing I'm going to do with my garlic is find all of the pieces that have got a rougher end to them and just nip them right off. They're already cleaned, already rinsed, so I'm just going to put them right into my jar as I go through these. This is one of my favorite kitchen medicines to make, and I only make it once, I don't know, every 2 years or so is when I have to do it, because we start running low on the garlic pieces. And you can refresh this by adding garlic and adding more honey to the jar. But I thought that I would just do a new jar to give you guys the video so you can see how to get it done. So I'm just going to get these cleaned up and put them into my jar. As you guys know, we do a lot of fermenting here, and this is probably the most popular ferment that I do. And everyone in the house really knows the value of this ferment for us. Fermenting garlic in honey is such a valuable food as medicine. And it's really good to have on hand as we turn into the cold months and get the coughs and get the sniffles and sometimes the aches and pains that come with turning inside and not having our air as well circulated and being in close quarters with our family and friends, and just the small things that we can pass around that give us the sniffles or give us a sore throat. So garlic is a really excellent immunity booster, and the honey is, obviously, it's a really good throat soother. When you mix the two together, it's kind of a powerhouse. You can use the garlic honey to combat colds and flu. We use it as a tasty addition to a lot of breads and rolls and other foods. One of my favorite ways to use the honey, not as a medicine, but just as food, is to brush pizza dough. Like after I've started baking my pizza, I brush the dough to finish it off. And the same with bread and rolls and stuff. You brush it on before you're finishing off your bread. So it kind of infuses into the crust and your bread. It just gives your pizza or your breads a nice, sweet, garlicky snap. I'm just going to keep going through these, and some of them already have the hard ends come off of it, so I don't really worry about them too much. It's just nice to go through them. And I am taking out a few that are, still a little warty after being peeled. I don't want to put anything into the jar that might rot. So the main health ingredients in garlic is the allicin, which gives garlic its antibacterial and disease-fighting properties. And of course, honey is so much goodness. It contains so much. It's basically God's perfect medicine, if you ask me. Honey is anti-inflammatory. It's an immune booster. It is antibacterial. It's antiviral and antifungal. As a midwife, a lot of midwives know that you can use honey when a woman gives birth if she has any kind of tears or anything. It's a really beneficial to helping her skin heal. So I'm just getting this jar filled up. Another thing I really like to do with honey, because of all of its delicious properties and its medicinal properties, is to blend it with turmeric. And I use just that turmeric honey to make golden milk. Instead of measuring out the honey and the turmeric separately. I just make my turmeric honey because then if I don't want all of the other spices, I can just put the turmeric honey in with the warm milk and it's top notch. I do a lot of medicine making with honey. And we do a lot of garlic eating in general too. Our family basically lives on garlic. I can't think of very many dishes that I wouldn't actually put garlic in except for sweet things. So I'm just getting the rest of the way through these. You can get garlic in bulk pretty easily. If you've got a Costco membership, they've got this giant bag of honey. I can't remember how much it costs though. It's been a couple of years since I had my Costco membership, but it was a giant bag and I used to buy it quite frequently. And a few more with some ends to be clipped off. Get rid of this water. Get my scraps out of the way. And this is my favorite knife, by the way. It's a Tramontina chef knife. It's a pretty inexpensive chef knife. And my countertop is an IKEA countertop. And I can't remember exactly where I got this bag of garlic from. I know I didn't get it from Costco. So I'm just going to get these clipped up. And don't worry, the scraps of the garlic, I'm going to use those. I'll put them in a little jar of oil and get some garlic flavored oil going. But then anything that's punky, I just throw it into the compost. I have had a few garlic scapes pop out of my compost from time to time. It's kind of a pretty surprise. Let me know in the comments what kind of medicine you like to make with garlic. My kids kind of dread sometimes when I say, oh, go get the garlic honey, because depending on who they are, I'll make them eat a piece of garlic honey and just make them eat it whole because I know what it's going to do for them, you know. If it's just a simple cough, though, they'll take the syrup gladly, the honey syrup. Liliana, though, she's kind of a beast about garlic. She will eat garlic. So now I've got my jar completely full. You can see I've got it nice and stuffed. It's not overstuffed though. They're not, fighting for area in there. Everything can still move around really nicely and pour out really nicely and easily. And some of them are pretty big too. And so sometimes I will cut them up and get them smaller pieces. But when you do that, the allicin releases a lot faster when you crush garlic. So that's why I keep my garlic whole rather than crush it or cut it to do the fermenting. And now this will ferment, and that's my daughter Grace taking a picture. We filmed this before she left for South Carolina. I forgot what I was going to say, but just there. So get them all, shake them all down. And then you want to take your honey and you're going to pour your honey in and get it all covered. And I let the honey just ooze down into the garlic. Sometimes I'll poke at it to get it to go all the way down. And stir it just a little bit. You can see I'll do that with my cute little fermentation spoons. I use these little spoons. I think I got them at Walmart. They're bamboo and silicone. I got them for scraping my sourdough jars and stirring my fermented garlic. So after you get this covered, the fermentation basically starts right away. So you get it all in there and make sure all of the garlic is nice and covered. And it'll start to bubble within about 12 hours. I got a little bit of a mess there. It's a good thing it's a good mess. It's a tasty mess. But it'll start to bubble within about 12 hours. So if you're in a pinch and you need to have some garlic honey medicine right away, within 12 hours, you can make this and use it. And it's really, really helpful. And you'll notice after time that the honey gets watery with the garlic, and it'll turn color too. So that dark brown of the first jar, when I showed you at the beginning, the honey wasn't that dark. The honey was the light amber color that I'm pouring on the garlic right now. But over time, the chemical reaction between the garlic and the honey changes the composition in color of the honey. But it's all still good, and it all still works, even though it is that really dark brown color. So I'm going to get all of this mixed up and stirred together. And like I said, it'll float, or it'll start working right away. Within 12 hours, you'll see the bubble ferments, or the fermentation bubbles, and you'll be able to use it. And the garlic will float a little bit, but this isn't one that you have, for a lot of ferments, you have to use a weight. I never use a weight with my garlic. It doesn't mold. I've never, ever had a batch of fermented garlic mold at all. And that's because of the honey. So you can see everything is pretty well saturated in there. You just really want to make sure you get everything really saturated. And I'll just top off the jar. And get that in there. And that should just about do it for this jar of honey. And now this will last us a couple of years. And as we consume the garlic, we can add more honey to it. As we consume the honey, we can add more honey as well. And it'll just kind of refresh the batch. And it's so good. It's such a treat. I even use this when we have a hint of strep throat. You know, you can buy a rapid strep test on Amazon for relatively cheap. And just to assuage my own desire to know if I'm really good at self-diagnosing in my family strep throat, I've gotten one, and I was correct. So, and we don't put antibiotics in our bodies as much as we can avoid it. And anytime we've had strep, save for once, we've used garlic honey, and the strep went away within just a couple of days. Now, that should not be constituted as medical advice. That's just what I do here. If you want to go get your rapid strep test and go on antibiotics, that's totally up to you. We just choose not to. So I'm going to get all this in here. And if you're new here and want to see more content like this, I urge you to hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up and get that bell notification clicked so you can be notified right away when I post new videos. I'm going to have a video coming up also on how to make fire cider, since that's another valuable medicine for this time of year. There, we're all done and ready for the winter. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, guys, and I'll see you next time.